What's up, guys? Rick here with your DFS preview for this week's Genesis Invitational. Riviera Country Club is one of my favorite courses on tour. In fact, I'll be there on Thursday. If you're going to be around, come say hello. I'll tweet out my location at some point. And there's a chance I'm there Friday as well, but still up in the air. Coming off an absolutely phenomenal week, the WM Phoenix Open always delivers. And of course, the Super Bowl. Now, if you remember last week, what I did is I asked you which would be higher, the winning score of the WM Phoenix Open or Joe Burrow's passing yards. And I must say, at probably a 90-10 split, the comments rolled in favor of Joe Burrow. He's easily going to throw for over 300 yards. No chance the winning score at the WM Phoenix Open is higher. The results are in. Joe Burrow's passing yards in the Super Bowl, 263. The winning score, Scotty Scheffler and Patrick Cantlake technically because they went to a playoff, for the WM Phoenix Open, 268. How about that? The winning score was victorious. And how good am I at setting lines? Maybe I should quit my day job and become a cross-sport prop maker. No, I think I'll hang here. I did give away 2 subscriptions to RickRunGood.com for people that entered. You did not have to get the side correct. So those go out to Garliler. I don't know if I'm pronouncing that correctly. And Matt Levine, congratulations. I've already reached out to you, and I'll get you set up with your subscriptions to RickRunGood.com. Much appreciate all the support. Thank you so much for liking, for subscribing. I love doing this, and this is an event that I'm absolutely stoked to talk about. I will say this, because I am traveling this week, the content schedule is a little bit different. So I've tweeted it out. You can go to my Twitter page, rickrungood.com. It'll be pinned there at the top so you can see the content schedule for the remainder of the week. But let's not waste any more time. Let's get into it. Riviera. All right, Riviera Country Club. And what I'm showing you on the screen right now, if you're watching on YouTube, it's my website. It's rickrungood.com. I love it. I think you'll love it too. You should subscribe. This is really a true test. You know, this is a golf course that has a lot of bite to it. In fact, if you just look at kind of the percentages to hit the fairway, percentages to hit greens, it's tough. So I have it right here. Fairways last year, 47% of fairways were hit. That was the second most difficult fairway to hit on tour last season. Greens in regulation, 54%. That was the third most difficult green in regulation to hit last year. Birdie or better percentage, 17 out of 51. So basically top third in terms of difficulty, and same thing for scoring average. It's really, there's kind of two ways. Not two ways. You kind of have to be good at everything, right? You've got to be either a really good ball striker or really good in your short game. Ideally, both of those things kind of being the path to victory. And you're going to see a lot of guys playing from the rough. You're going to see a lot of guys playing from greenside. But if you can avoid that, if you can play from the short grass, if you can play from the green, you are giving yourself a significant advantage to the rest of the field. If you look at the most correlated stats to success, driving distance, highly correlated to success, 11 out of 43 in terms of courses, which means there's only 10 courses on the PGA Tour schedule in which driving distance is more strongly correlated to success over the years. And then around the green is 9th. So that's really the strongest metric, that short game metric. And it does not mean that golfers who are winning that week or having success that week at Riviera are getting up and down. No, it means that golfers who, for that season in which they had success, they had really good around the green numbers. That's what it says. So we're building types of golfers, models of golfers that are going to have success at every single golf course. So it will be a true test. We've seen some legitimate winners around here. We've seen a lot of really good golfers in contention, and it's a very, very strong field. Now, there's something very unique about kind of the scores and the way they roll in at Riviera that we don't normally see on the PGA Tour schedule. Now, this is a golf course that played over par on average last year, about a quarter of a shot over par, 71.27. And normally when you see a course that plays over par, it's like, 14 of the holes are right around even par, and then you might have a hard hole and you might have one easy hole. But Riviera kind of takes it to the extremes. While the scoring average is over par, there are at least 4 really easy holes. Now, there are some really tough holes as well, but 4 really easy holes. Number 1, number 10, number 11, and number 17. So of the 918 holes on the PGA Tour schedule last year, number 1, the opening hole at Riviera, was 914th. That means it's like a bottom 5 hole. It means it's one of the easiest holes on the PGA Tour. So if you're not making birdie or having a look at eagle on this 500-yard par 5 to open up at Riviera that plays downhill, you're doing something wrong. So that's a very easy hole. The 5s in general, very, very easy. Number 11, that was ranked 822 out of 918. Number 17 ranked 780 out of 918. And then number 10, which, yes, there are big numbers lurking, on average, it's plays under par. It was 677th out of 918. So what does that mean? It means that there are 4 holes that are in the easiest 27% of all holes on the PGA Tour. The opposite side of that is that there are 3 holes that are in the hardest 8% of holes. So what am I even getting at here? You don't see a breakdown like this. You don't see the extremes too often. And if you're playing props, if you're playing prize picks, I think this week the birdies prop is probably one of the best places that you can go. So here are the current lines over at PrizePicks, and I stress these are the current lines because these are going to move. Because what I think the guys at PrizePicks did is, okay, they took the, how many birdies or better that these golfers are making, and they factored in the fact that Riviera is hard, and they did a good job there. But what I think they're whiffing on is that the 4 really easy holes. So there is not a golfer for round 1 with a prop for birdies or better over 4. It's 3, it's 3.5, or it's 4 for even the best players in this field. Well, we just talked about it. The par 5s are all birdie holes. 10, that's kind of an extreme hole, but there are birdies to be made there as well. Well, that's 4 really easy holes, or 4 easier than normal holes. If you can get one more somewhere else, you are kind of in, prime position to go over. So like I'm looking at Abraham Answer, his prop for round 1 in terms of birdies is 3 birdies. Now he might shoot over par, but I think you can get it done with 4. You can shoot over par and make 4 or 5 birdies because of the difficult holes that are out there and the big numbers that you can make. So it's a really weird situation where you have a hard course, but there are birdies to be made. And I think, especially in round 1, if the PrizePicks guys don't figure this out for rounds 2, 3, and 4, I think a lot of guys are going to go over on the birdies. Now, if you haven't played props, I've been loving it for the last couple of weeks. If you use my code RICK, it's 100% instant deposit match up to $100. I get paid on that. You get paid on that. PrizePicks gets your business. It's a win-win-win situation. So I've built this tool that you're looking at on RickRunGood.com right now. That's a free tool. So if you just go into free tools, you can mess around with that. You can change any number of rounds. But I think there's a huge opportunity here. And what I've seen is when this video gets released or when I tweet it, I hate to say I'm moving the needle. I don't think I am, but literally the lines are moving. So you probably want to be very quick on that. The link is in the description if you want to sign up and you want to play. Really strange situation. I can't wait to see how it plays out, especially on Thursday with these birdies rolling in. Let's go over to the cheat sheet here. And there are 5 golfers priced over $10,000. Jon Rahm, 11.3. Patrick Cantlay, a flat 11,000. Justin Thomas, 10.7. Colin Morikawa, 10.4. Dustin Johnson, 10.2. Hard not to like any of these guys, right? I mean, the depth of this field is amazing. The guys who are at the top are playing really well. I can beat you over the head with the Jon Rahm, Patrick Cantlay stuff. If you'd like, someone dropped in the comments and was like, stop saying Jon Rahm is by far the best player in the world. His ego is going to get inflated or something like that. And I'm like, do you think Jon Rahm's listening to this? If he is, hello, John. Welcome. You're playing great right now. What we've seen. So Rahm before last week was gaining 2.52 strokes per round over his last 50. Finished inside the top 10, dropped to 2.49, still a staggering number of strokes gained per round. Cantlay is bridging the gap. Cantlay is now up over 2 strokes gained per round. So it's Rahm at 2.4, it's Cantlay at 2.1, and it's everybody else. Nobody within a half a shot of Patrick Cantlay. Next closest golfer, Cam Smith, 1.66 over the course of his last 50. If you go to weighted numbers, we'll see a little bit different, but I think that's a really good perspective. So there are no qualms about Rahm and Cantlay, and I will continue to say, as I have, the true way to deploy these guys is in DFS. you're not betting them outright. They haven't won. You haven't been burned by that too recently, yet they are in optimal lineups. They are constantly outperforming their expectation. They're just doing crazy things in the world of DFS, and if you can get them in your lineups, awesome. We'll see on Wednesday during the live chat, 3 p.m. Eastern time, what the actual ownership is going to be. Justin Thomas, mixed bag of results here, and I wonder how that's going to impact his ownership, because I can already tell you a lot of people are going to love Colin Morikawa, which is well warranted. A lot of people are going to love Dustin Johnson, again, fairly well warranted. What are we going to do with JT? At this point in the week, early on Monday, it feels like he's your leverage play. Let's go look at his golfer profile real quick, and we'll note 2 missed cuts in his last 2 trips to this event, but his 2 starts before that were 2 top 10s. The good news for Justin Thomas is that he's vintage JT, right? He gained 7 strokes on approach last week in Phoenix. 7. His best approach week since concession. That was a year ago. That we're coming up on 2 weeks away from a year ago, a full year. WGC concession, he gained 9.5, and he lost 2.8 strokes putting. Yeah, putt to a 0, and you're in the playoff, JT. So it's a really good sign. This is the blueprint that you want to see, all that good stuff, and I think he's probably going to be the pivot play of the week. Morikawa is going to be really popular, and it's warranted. I think that most people don't realize that Morikawa has been really good, right? Victor's won a couple of times, and we're talking a lot about Rahm Cantlay, and Morikawa has played overseas for his last 2 starts, but, T18 in Dubai, T62 in Abu Dhabi, but here we go. 5th place finish at the Tournament of Champions, 5th at the Hero. He wins in Dubai at the DP World Tour, 7th at the Zozo, 2nd at the CJ Cup. I mean, he's just piling it up, and when you look at his results here, remember, I'm pretty sure this is the event. Right after this event, he went to that claw grip. He worked with Marco Mira on the claw grip with his putter because he lost 7.5 strokes putting here last year, which is one of his worst putting performances of his career, but he gained 7.5 on approach, and it's why a lot of us were all over his win at the concession because we knew he couldn't putt like that again, and I'm fairly confident the next week he either went to the claw grip this week last year and struggled with it the first time he used it, and then he figured it out, or this was the reason he went to the claw. I can't remember which, but he was in the midst of some putting woes that while he's not been a great putter since then, he's definitely been serviceable, and he's definitely been a guy who gains 3 or 4 in a given week, and if he does it, he wins, right? Like that's the path. That's why he wins so often. So a lot of energy is going to be expended towards Colin Morikawa. So I think if you're playing the game theory game, it's JT and it's DJ. Go with your acronyms. If you want to win with GT, game theory, it's JT and DJ. Dustin Johnson, let's pull up his golfer profile because he has been phenomenal at this event. Riviera, and it's not always been an invitational, right? It was the Northern Trust. It was an open event, and now it's the invitational, so it is a smaller field. But I don't think people realize what a great putter Dustin Johnson has been. In fact, let's go to the power rankings. Let's do last 50 for just golfers in this field, sort by strokes gained putting. Number 1, Noren, Hughes, Lee Biota, Rahm, McIlroy, Cam Smith, Dustin Johnson. It's like a top 7 putter in the last 50 rounds. Would you have guessed that? I probably wouldn't if I didn't have the database, right? If I wasn't seeing it all the time. But when you combine that, maybe he's one of the top 8 best putters in this field with maybe what we saw at Torrey, right? Gaining over 7 strokes in the ball striking categories. Then he goes to Saudi Arabia. We don't have the breakdown there, but he finishes T8, gains nearly 10 strokes on the field. Now goes back to an event where he's been phenomenal, right? I can pull up his results, and you can see he's got the win in 2017. He's got 3 straight top 10 finishes, bunch of runners up, bunch of 3rd and 4th. Like he's just been, it's amazing. It's an amazing history around here. So I will likely, if I'm trying to win all the money, focus on JT, focus on DJ, but it is a beautiful, absolutely beautiful $10,000 range. As you can imagine in this field, the 9K range is stacked as well. Xander, 9,900. That feels a bit disrespectful, right? I mean, he finished, a shot out of the playoff last week. Got another good set of results here. 4 straight top 25s, the only 4 times he's played it. I guess you can't move him into the 10K range, but that like Xander is going to win somewhere, and he's going to be priced in the 9,000s, and we're all going to be like, wow, aren't we a bunch of idiots, right? Like that's coming, and it might be this week when you get the difficult conditions and you need to be a well-rounded golfer, and it's firm and fast. Like, man, really hard to believe Xander wouldn't contend here. So we'll keep an eye on that. Rory McIlroy is probably the most interesting golfer here. Missed the cut here last year, had back-to-back top fives before that. Rory, we don't have the statistical breakdown for in his last 4 starts. So if you actually look at this, the last 4 that we have measured data on, he's lost on approach in 4 straight. Now, that has not stopped him from turning in good results. A 4th at the BMW Championship while he lost strokes on approach, a win at Summit Club while he lost nearly over 3.5 on approach. That's scary stuff for the rest of the field. And then he's played 4 times in Europe that we don't have the breakdown on, but he finished 6th at the World Tour, the DP World Tour Championship, 18th at the Hero. That's miserable. That's nearly dead last. And then T12 in Abu Dhabi and 3rd at the Dubai Desert Classic, an event he probably should have won, right? He dumps it in the water there late. Victor gets into a playoff with Richard Bland, and the rest is history. Victor's adding another trophy to his mantle. But man, this is the guy, right? This is the guy everybody's going to try to figure out. This is the guy that we're going to go in with kind of little evidence around, or at least, little information around in a stacked $9,000 range. If we're continuing on this kind of game theory path that we're on, I think at this moment on Monday morning, your best options are DJ, JT, Rory McIlroy, right? That feels like the way to run this out, because you're going to see a lot of people bounce right back on Victor. You're going to see a lot of people go to Hideki, who's been phenomenal, by the way. Actually, I wanted to look at this. I wanted to see where Hideki ranked in like weighted strokes gained last, we could do last 20, but I think I can give him more credit than that. Last 20, he's 6th, but I bet you if we go back even further, like last 40, which is getting into a pretty significant stretch of golf. Oh, he actually drops. Yeah, maybe it is more recently. Yeah, he's 40th in last 40. What about last 30? I feel like he's been playing better than just 5 events or so. Maybe he hasn't. These are weighted too, so he doesn't get as much credit for, some of the weaker fields. But wow, yeah, I mean, listen, where does Hideki play best? Firm, fast, kind of more difficult courses. You think of, obviously, Augusta National. You think of the Memorial, right? Like Scottsdale, that thing dries out over the course of the day. He's won there multiple times. This should be a pretty good setup for him. 9th 3 years ago, 5th 2 years ago. I don't think many will sprint after Scotty Scheffler after his recent victory, but I think it's a pretty good buy spot for Brooks Koepka. So, okay, here's what kind of happens. Brooks was a huge question mark last week. The recent form was horrendous. The course history was amazing. And now we had back-to-back weeks of Spieth having the same situation and playing well at Pebble, and Brooks doing the same thing in Phoenix. Maybe this is going to become a course history channel, right? Maybe that's the case. Undefeated in the last 2 weeks. But what I think happens is you get... everybody was anyone who wanted to play Brooks last week was kind of excited to do so under the guise of course history. Now you go somewhere where he doesn't really have elite course history, right? And the field is just as good, if not better. I mean, I guess it's better, obviously. Has made 2 cuts in a row here, but his best finish is a T38, nothing particularly special. And what I saw from him, I thought was fairly encouraging. When Brooks is at his best, he's gaining strokes on approach. Look at it. He gains 2 last week, T3. The last time he gained more than 2 was T5 at the Travelers. Time before that, T4 at the U.S. Open. Before that, T2 at the PGA Championship. T2 at the WGC. Win in Phoenix. Like, if he gains over 2 strokes on approach, he's in it. He's in it. And I saw him hit some shots that were really, really encouraging. And I wonder if people are just going to kind of bounce off that. You're still going to get firm, fast, hard conditions in which it's kind of feeling a bit like a major. Maybe Brooks shows. So I think it is an interesting now buy spot on a $9,000 Brooks Koepka. Looks healthy, by the way. The $8,000 range, I assume everyone will roll with Zalatoris, which is fine. I think, again, if you're playing the game theory, it's Burns and it's Sungjae. So Sam Burns, we're gonna learn, right? I'm a big believer in Sam Burns, and he is someone that, you know, we were hoping in the fall and kind of hoping into last summer that was what we saw last year from him was not just a fluke. And he's missed 2 cuts in a row, although I will say good sign that he, gained strokes on approach in Phoenix, and he missed the cut by a number. In fact, the number. In fact, the last 2 cuts that he's missed missed it by a shot, less than a shot, in terms of strokes gained total. So I think there's no reason to panic. But remember, Burns was leading this event last year. I think as they made the turn on Sunday, that makes sense because Burns is a modern player. So I'd be interested in buying back on him. And then the other one in this spot is Sungjae, who took a 2-week break, right? Took 2 off weeks in a row. I don't know if that's good or bad for a guy who loves to tee it up every single week. But here's what I see from Sungjae. He has not lost strokes off the tee since the John Deere. That was in July. Started the streak that he's on right now at the Olympics. And when he's at his best, that second category looks really good as well. Great ball striker. The short game starting to turn around. I mean, this to me is a really, really good spot for him. Although I think he missed the cut here. Was it last year or 2 years ago that he missed the cut here? Maybe it was 2 years ago. Let's look it up. It was when I was there, which had to have been more than 2 years ago. Okay, he's only played it twice. He played in 2020, 2019, missed the cut in both, did not play it last year. So he's back again this time around. I'm telling you, the way he's playing, I think it sets up really well for him. And when he's at his best, that ball striking, the short game, right? Like when he's at his best, he's the guy who wins this. He can ball strike it well, and if he does miss a green, getting up and down is one of his strengths. So again, it's going to be a bit more volatile, but I love the way Sungjae is priced. Bubba will likely be inflated 3 times a victor here. I do wonder what Finau is going to do. I mean, Finau has been very, very poor, right, by his own lofty standards, and he's got 2 runner-up finishes here. We remember the playoff with Max Homa last year, but man, that is really scary stuff to be buying Finau. The other 2 guys, I guess really the rest of this 8K range, I really love. Adam Scott played well enough last week. He's won this event. I think I don't want to say it was a tune-up, but playing Phoenix for the first time and playing well for the majority of the week and then getting to go to a place you've won before, I think that's really good. Fitzpatrick has low-key been so good, right? 6th at Pebble, 10th in Phoenix, 5th here last year. He plays fine on firm and fast because it can kind of run out for him. Fitzpatrick, I think I said last week, Gooch might be the most mispriced guy in the field. Might be Fitzpatrick this week. Might be Fitzpatrick. And then Gooch himself is at the bottom of the $8,000 range. If he did not have a horrible Sunday, we might have been talking about his name being in a playoff. I mean, he just punted it away on Sunday. Which is strange because he's been so good, but has decent results here, 3 top 20s in his last 3 starts. So really that bottom of the 8K range, you could live there, and I'd be pretty happy with it. Now, as we go to the 7K range, I like to just kind of, when I'm in the kind of the value ranges, I like to just kind of go over to the power rankings and get an idea for how some of these guys are playing. So I've got the last 24 rounds loaded in. You could probably even go shorter than this. I think, when you start getting into the value guys, trying to ride the hot hand feels like the way to go. So let's try last 20 and sort it by just golfers in this field. And what we're going to see is a couple of names that are in the 7Ks pop up. First off, Tom Hoge. Not just the win, was in contention again last week, had popped for top 10s, twice in 4 starts before the victory. So playing really well and gets a course that really the ball striking should help with. Last 20 rounds, Hoagie's gaining across the board. Really impressive stuff. He's actually 2nd in terms of raw strokes gained in the last 20 rounds. Now, he would get a big ding for Pebble because of the weights of that, but wow, impressive. Henley's up here as well, 5th in terms of strokes gained total in the last 20. And then the other guy that shows up on the list for the $7,000 range is Luke List. And this is, again, ball strikers paradise. Let's look at how those guys rank when we do just this field, but we weight this. Henley gets a boost. He's now the 4th best player. Hoagie and List are 9 and 10. So either way you look at it, they are still top 10 players in this field over the last 20 rounds, and they're priced in the $7,000 range. That's hard to get. I mean, it's a depth of field that allows for that. And when you look at the rest of the 7K, there are guys that I think will draw ownership, right? People will assume this is a pretty good spot for Answer because he's accurate off the tee and stuff like that. Casey could be interesting, right? Paul Casey, who we have not seen. Let's pull up his golfer profile because we have not seen a lot of Paul Casey, especially on the PGA Tour as of late. So if we pull up his golfer profile, that'll give us the true look at what he's been up to. So 4 consecutive starts on the European Tour, 4 consecutive cuts made, 9th at the DP World Tour. That was at the end of last year. This year, he was 12th in Dubai, 24th in Saudi Arabia. So, I mean, you can't really argue with that. And if we know anything about Paul Casey when he's at his best, what's he doing? Yeah, exactly. He's ball striking. He's hitting his wedge as well. Things like that. So that's an interesting start to the 7K. Oh, I will say this. Thomas Peters. I don't know how popular Thomas Peters is going to be this week, but I think he probably should be. We have had such high expectations for Thomas Peters for the last 6 years, and for the most part, he has not really lived up to them. He's living up to it now. Right now, he's the golfer that we thought he was going to be 5 years ago. And this is not a knock against him. Golf's really hard. He's still fairly young. He ended 2021 with a win in Portugal and then a 15th at the DP World Tour Championship. Then he starts 2022 with a win in Abu Dhabi, a 12th at the Dubai Desert Classic, and then 24th in Saudi Arabia, which is the same finishing position that Paul Casey had. So he has now gained, let's see, eight or more strokes in 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 of his last 9 starts worldwide, something like that. That's a lot of strokes to gain. He's battled some of the better fields that they've had on the European Tour as of late. And if you look at what he's done here, hasn't played here since, let's see, Thomas Peters. 2 years ago, finished 3rd, had a runner-up in, what year would that have been? 17. I think now's the buy time. Sahith Theegala. I worked hard on that pronunciation. I think that's right. I cannot stress enough how impressed I was with him last week. Week in and week out, we see guys that are 100, 200, 300th in the world who eject after leading after 1 round or 2 rounds or 3 rounds or whatever it is. This dude hung in, ice in his veins, hit every big shot, got unlucky on 17 for his ball to go in the water. Unbelievably impressed. Love the kid. However, I don't think I can buy at 7,300. This is a golf course that his style of golf is volatile. It is erratic. It is very handsy with the swing. If he gets loose off the tee, and these are already greens to hit, it's going to be hard. The emotional week last week, I'd be really impressed if he contended again. I'm going to get access to Sahith, but it is probably not going to be here. We'll check on him in a couple of weeks, but so impressed with what he was able to accomplish. The 6K range is very dart throwy. I don't particularly love it. The usual suspects are here: Russell Knox, Aaron Wise, guys that I think you're fairly high on long term, and then you get guys like Doug Gim who can kind of put it all together for 1 round at a time, but he's continued to extend his cut streak. That's kind of interesting. Okay. Wyndham Clark is here. Wyndham Clark has 2 top 20s at this event, and I feel like these missed cuts are not as bad as they appear. Let me just double check this. But 2 top 20s in the only 2 times that he's played here. Let me just confirm what these missed cuts were. Okay, yeah, gets cut in Phoenix, which, whatever, misses it by 2 shots. Oh, he MDF'd. That's what I was thinking about. He MDF'd at Pebble Beach, which is he made the cut, but because of the amateurs, they did not let them play on Sunday. That's an old thing they used to do, and it's unique to only the Pebble Beach Pro-Am. But before that, he had been on a pretty good stretch of making cuts. He had made 6 consecutive before that. If you give him the MDF at Pebble, it's 7 in a row. So it's not the worst thing I've ever seen at 6,500. Yeah, 6,500. Ricky Fowler is 6,600. And I'm not particularly excited about it, to be honest. I want to look at James Hahn real quick because everyone knows not only does Hahn have the win here, which he did when he was like 200-1, but even in times where he has struggled, he has shown up for this event. So if we want to play the course history game, right? We want to play that game because look at this history. Genesis, if I can type it in correctly, for James Hahn. The win, again, 200-1 in 2015, missed the cut the next year and then rattled off 4 consecutive top 28s. The last 3 have been top 25s. And he ball strikes it well when he gets here. He putts well when he gets here. It is not anything like his current form looks right now. He's made missed 4 cuts in a row, although his approach play's been better than average. His tee to green play's been better than average. It's not the ugliest thing that I've ever seen. And when you look back at previous years, right? I mean, he missed the cut at Pebble before he finished T15 at the Genesis last year. You continue to go back. Where am I? Genesis. Here. T13, missed the cut. Did I say that one? Missed the cut before Genesis the year before. I got lost in my own head here. Actually was playing pretty well before. Was playing great before he got to Genesis in 2018. Yeah, so maybe it's not that interesting. Maybe he can't just flip the switch here. Although I lean he can more than he can't, and I've been proven wrong the last couple of weeks thinking the opposite in Brooks and Spieth. David Lipsky's made 3 cuts in a row. 14th at the, what was that event? American Express. 24th at Pebble. Didn't play last week. He's played big time fields, right? He's played a lot of WGCs and things like that in his career compared to everybody else. When I say a lot, I mean like a handful. But the fact that he's got his PGA Tour card for the first time this year, it's more than his peers. All right, let's run a model here. What are we going to do with this model? So let's do, oh boy, last 20? I want to start getting shorter, right? I want to start getting kind of hot hands here. 20? 16? 16 too much? Let's do 20. Boy, what am I going to do? So I think you need to be well-rounded, but I want to use the model. So the model was distance. The model was around the green. It was kind of a little bit of ball striking. So let's do this. Let's do 25 on distance, 20 weighted around the green, 10 off the tee, 10 approach, 10 putting. So now we have a weighted strokes gain total in which we are giving a bit of a nod to around the green, and we're giving a nod to driving distance. We have 25 left. I could do par 5 scoring because if you don't make hay at the 5s, you're kind of cooked. I could do DraftKings points. I could do birdie or better. I kind of like the par 5 scoring. Let's do 25 on par 5 score. Let's just see what this pumps out. I don't know. Let's see what it pumps out. My top golfer is, oh boy. Yeah, it's Patrick Cantlay. So Cantlay's number 1, Xander number 2, Cam Smith 3, Luke List 4, Jon Rahm 5, Rory is 6. There you go. Rory is 6. Hideki 7, JT 8, Sung Jae 9, DJ 10. It's kind of the big boys. Let's try a different model here. Let's try well, let's go shorter. Let's go 16 rounds. And let's do 25 on birdie or better, 40 on weighted strokes gain total. That gives us 65. I've got birdie or better. Let's do 20 on accuracy or on distance, excuse me. I have 15 left. Let's say 15 is I've got a lot of this covered already. But let's do scrambling, which would also be included in strokes gain around the green. Okay, let's do, all right, since it's like POA, right? And sometimes you can get those wonky POA putts. Let's do putts like 5 to 10 feet, which are always kind of weird. I just want to see what the results are. Let me resort this for a new model. Okay, Cantlay's number 1. Smith, Thomas, Rahm, Xander, Cam Young is 6. Joaquin Niemann is 7. Might want to look into Joaquin. 8 is Sung Jae. I think he was in both of the top 10s. Dustin Johnson, 9. Sam Burns is 10. All right. Well, there's just so many big names in this field. I tried to get some value in there for you guys, but I'm not sure I necessarily accomplished that goal. All right. We got a good one this week. Again, if you're going to be out there on Thursday, give me a holler. Looking forward to meeting you guys. And I will be back with plenty more content this week. You can tweet me at RickRunGood. You can leave a comment below. Best of luck, and I'll talk to you guys soon.